Hello there, this is Dr. Lee Zeitz, and I'd like to take you on a quick tour of going through the Iowa Core curriculum. This is the Iowa Core curriculum website, and this is what we use to guide the expectations of students and what they will learn and achieve in our schools. Now, let me begin. You'll notice that on the opening page they talk about grade and subject and the Iowa Core essential elements. Actually, this is something we're not going to get into, but is set up for students with significant cognitive disabilities. You may find it interesting to go through and take a look. But the Iowa Core curriculum is set up with 13 grades, K through 12. And in there we have 5 subject areas. We have literacy, mathematics, science, social studies, and 21st century skills, which is a conglomeration of things such as literacy, technology, real life skills, that sort of thing. Now, there's 2 areas that they talk about. They talk about the broader area, which is the essential concepts or goals. That's the overall topic of study. Measurement and data would be an example of that. That's what we're talking about. But when we talk about more specifically, what is it we expect the students to be able to do? Those are the skills and objectives. Like these specific outcomes with active verbs. Remember, not like understand or comprehend, but when we talk about hots and lots and those things that we've already learned about, we talk about action verbs like to make a line plot, to display a data set. You can tell if a student is able to make a line plot to display a data set. It isn't something that is intuitive or something. So let's go over and take a look at the IowaCore-Gov. Now, when we open this up, what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to begin by selecting a grade. I want to work with the 5th grade. I used to teach 5th grade and really enjoyed that level. And what I'd like to do is I want to do a project where we're doing some experimentation. And with this experimentation, something about plants and that sort of thing, because that's going to fit into the thematic unit that we're doing. So let's take a look in mathematics. If we go to mathematics, we can click in here and they talk about, if you want to see all the mathematics core information, that's over here in these PDF and Word documents. You should read through this area about the standards. And then down here at the bottom, we have the essential concepts and goals. So let's take a look at the measurement and data one. And if we go in a little bit deeper, we'll see that one of them has to do with representing and interpreting data. That's something that we want to do. Now this, to represent and interpret data, that's specific to a certain degree. Can a student represent and interpret data? But let's be even more specific. If you take a look under this one where it says measurement and data, this is make a line plot to display a data set of measurements in fractions of a unit, 1/2, 1/4, and 1/8. Now this is very specific. These are action words. To make is an active word. And this would be a skill or objective. So here's one thing that we're going to take a look at. In other words, the students that we're going to be working with are going to be doing this and proving they can do this in mathematics. We'll go back to 5th grade. Now what we'll do is we will select science. And let's go into science. And under science, let's go down to life science because we would like to do something dealing with plants. And now we talk about molecules to organisms or ecosystems. I think that molecules to organisms is pretty much what we want to do. And let's go back one on that. And that is that molecules to organisms is going to be your essential concept or goal. And then when we move in here, we take a look at an active process, the active verb, which is to support an argument, that plants get the materials they need for growth, chiefly from air and water. So we could create an experiment that would fit into what they, where we could chart things and that sort of stuff like we talked about in the mathematics area. But this would be one where we have some plants that are getting lots of air and lots of water. We have other plants that don't get much, and we look at comparisons of growth. You see how that would support an argument that plants get their materials that they need from air and water. So that's number 2. Now the important thing is we should be able to write this up as well. See, we can kill 3 birds with 1 stone on this one. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to take a look at writing standards. And under writing standards, let's take a look at, and the writing standards is going to be our, we've got, this is the area that we're talking about. And then to research and build present knowledge, that is going to be our essential concept and goal. And then down here it says conduct, and that's W.5.7. Conduct short research projects that use several sources to build knowledge through investigation of different aspects of a topic. So in other words, after we've gone through and done the research as we did in the science, and then we've created graphs like we were using in the math, we could then come in and we could write about it. And that's part of the process. So we've got all three parts of these, which are going to be very useful. And what does this look like? So here's a table that you would put at the end of your thematic unit. You notice that it has a place for you to identify the subject area and the team member. You identify the essential concept or standards. And then over here it says, upon completion of this unit, students will be able to, and then you put an objective in here. Could be one that you wrote yourself, could be one that's inspired by the Iowa Core. And then over here you're going to write a description of what the students are going to be doing in your thematic unit that will connect it and show that they know how to accomplish this skill or objective. In this case, they're talking about creating a graph of data, and here they're saying that they want them to be able to create one. So let's take a look. Number one, we talk about math, and the student who's doing this is Naomi. And the essential concept is that it's measurement and data, how students can represent and interpret data. This is directly from the Iowa Core. The skill or objective is that, in representing data, they're going to make a line plot to display a data set of measurements in fractions of a unit, so half, quarter, eighth. And over here it says that they're actually going to create that data based upon information that they got from a science experiment using plants. Good. Okay, so that's math. In science, we have Samir, who is doing something, and he's talking about, he's using this concept or standard from molecules to organisms, structures and processes. Here he says the objective that he identified was to support an argument that plants get the materials they need for growth, chiefly from air and water. And here it shows how they're actually going to create they're going to use the results that they got from the science experiment to provide a basis for their discussion about how plants grow. And then finally in literacy, Trista, who's doing something about research to build and present knowledge, she's going to, the objective is that she wants them to conduct short research projects that use several sources to build knowledge through investigation of different aspects of a topic. So in other words, the literacy is that they're going to be doing some research. And here the students are going to be designing this science experiment they're talking about how plants grow, and it'll be designed based upon previous experiments that they've found in the literature. So you see what we're talking about? We're talking about this is the topic, this is the main concept or standard, this is the behavior, with active verbs that we want them to use, and over here is how we're going to see it in the thematic unit. I hope that this makes sense. It's going to help as you go by, and I'm sure things will make even more sense as you get into the project. Please make sure that you contact myself, your professors, or your graduate assistants if you have any questions, and then just have a great week. Thanks a lot. Bye.